My next guest is going to be back in action, taking on Tim Means, UFC Fight Night, May 13th. It is Alex Morono back here on the program. Alex, how are you, man?
Wow, what's up? Good, good. I was just telling you, man, I finished a pretty tough training session just about an hour and a half ago. So I got some lunch in me, which was nice. And after I'm going to take a nap and then go back at it tonight.
Living the dream. What'd you have for lunch? I got to ask.
So, man, I have to do it. We do a 10-round sparring session on Thursday. So, wiped of nutrition. I actually go get some pho, some Vietnamese soup.
Nice.
A lot of sodium, pretty clean. So that's like my one fun meal for the week.
Good. Well, yeah, you got your priorities straight. That's awesome. Was this the right amount of time off in between fights, or were you hoping to fight a little bit sooner than this?
What do we 4 months in, 5 months in? Yeah, no, that's not too bad. It's funny. I tell people all the time, if I have like no complaints working with the UFC, except one, I wish I could be a little more active. As a fighter. Like if I could fight, 4 times a year, that'd be awesome. I wouldn't even mind trying to set a record fighting the most times in a year. But like on average, I've done either 2 or 3 fights, like no matter what. And if I didn't take that short notice fight last year, it would have been only 1 time, which is like not nearly enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I can get 3 in this year, that'd be awesome. But again, like I'm not looking too far ahead. I got one big fight ahead of me, so been prepping for that one.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's quickly talk about that last fight against Ponzinibio. You were winning. It looked like you were on your way to getting that one in the bag, and then it just, a mistake and it happened. Is that kind of how you look at it, or what do you take away the most from that fight?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I fumbled it, and like you can never get too comfortable in there. And I just got too comfortable, even going into the third. Like I wasn't that tired, and it was just like felt like I was in such a good kind of cruise control rhythm. And I was like, man, this guy's not able to land on me. And that's never the right mindset. And man, I've even like made those mistakes before where I thought I had guys just like super dissected on the rhythm and beat. And just made the mistake and paid for it. Thankfully I got my win bonus. That's 5 win bonuses in a row.
That's right.
I enjoy getting those win bonuses. I got a new contract right after, and the UFC hooked it up with a big pay raise too.
Oh,
man.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'd give all that up for the win on my record. But considering that's not how life works, I'm actually quite satisfied with the risk and the reward that came with that fight.
How many fights? Because I'm hearing a lot of fighters now signing long-term deals. I just talked to Anthony Smith yesterday. He got 7 fights. How many did you get?
The average 4.
Yeah. Okay. That's typically that's normal. That's pretty normal for the 4. But I've heard some crazy ones. Like even Michelle Waterson, she got like 8 fights. It was just weird that they're doing like long-term deals. I think that's something new they're doing. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not opposed, man. I love the UFC. I plan on retiring in the UFC.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd be all down. I'd be all for that.
Yeah. And man, this fight, Tim Means. I mean, does this get much better than this? Like this already on paper, like they might as well just give you guys the fight of the night. How excited were you to get Tim as an opponent?
Yeah, so about 2 years ago, like right when COVID happened and like they were looking for guys to be active, I had a hunch we would get matched up. So like for about 2 years, I've been effectively waiting for the matchup. I remember watching him fight in Houston way back in the day. So he was in the UFC, he got cut, then he fought in Legacy, and he actually beat like a big prospect out of Houston and got re-signed to the UFC. And ever since then, I was, watched his fights. I would even root for him in a lot of his fights. I got a lot of respect for the guy. When I fought Zach Otto, he fought Nico Price in Kansas. And so I met him for the first time. He was super respectful, cool dude. I like his fighting style. He's in your face. He likes to throw down. So do I. So, yeah, this is a fun fight for sure.
I'm just looking up his record here. Was that the fight against, is it Artinius Young he fought? Who's the guy? Because he fought Pete Spratt after the first UFC stint. Then he fought Young after that and then got in the UFC and fought Neil Magny. Was that the prospect or was it someone else?
That was the prospect, man. So we call him Chico, the machine gun. He's like a Houston OG, man, a good friend of mine. And he was, I think, like maybe 8-1 or 8-2 at the time.
Yeah.
And I was, whoever wins that fight goes to the UFC. And that just goes to show how, dog eat dog and fickle it can be getting to that highest level. Yeah. And I was like rooting for my boy Chico naturally. And the Dirty Bird did his thing. And, so he's always kind of been like, not on my radar, but he's always been a guy, I suppose on the radar who I've been watching and like matched. Other than being matched up against him, I would actually always usually tune in for his fights.
Yeah, no, that's great. Stylistically, I mean, I think most people feel like this is, striker versus striker, but you guys are both pretty well rounded. Like, I think if you kind of look a little bit deeper, you'll see that, this is a case of, I mean, I know you guys prefer to strike, but also maybe this does hit the mat. How are you looking at this one?
Yeah, he's a wrestling coach. I'm a jiu-jitsu coach who teaches a lot of wrestling. So I'm pretty sure he's a black belt. I would only assume I mean, this is like his 49th pro fight, his 26th or something UFC fight. This is my 18th UFC fight. So we're both veterans. And what's cool is like I'm happy to grapple. I'm happy to wrestle with him. Definitely happy to strike with him. So like there's no real expectations, no real game plan. It's just go in there and do what you're best at, and and crack this dude. That's what I'm thinking about.
Training camp. Who've been some of the main guys helping you get ready for this one?
Man, so I got a new welterweight at Fortis. His name's Kyle Crutchmer. He's a super decorated wrestler. And then it's nice getting rounds back in with Jeff. Last time I sparred, I was trying to be Shavkat for him. Now he's just being a freaking crafty southpaw for me. But man, there's a big old room of southpaw welterweights for me. Julius Holmes, he's actually headlining a Fury card next Sunday in Oklahoma. And he's a big old physical southpaw. Mark my words, he will be in the UFC. I think he's like 7-2,
okay,
maybe 7-1 right now. But he's a big physical, super technical, good welterweight. And Ramez is the man. He actually had a pretty bad injury. He had to pull in his last fight, but he's finally coming out of it, which is cool. It's always fun to just kind of mix it up with him, even just kind of talking principle and strategy. But Jeff and Crutchmer and Jules, they've all been awesome. Carlos Diego Fierro is back in the mix. He's fighting Michael Johnson. So I've been getting some rounds with him, man. It's been fun.
Yeah, sounds like a good mix of everyone in there. I might be mistaken. Joseph Holmes, did you work with him too? Because I know he was mentioning about working at some gyms too, the middleweight. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, he's actually fighting on the pay-per-view next weekend. He trains at War in Houston. Oh, okay. So I go to Dallas in the beginning of each week, and I get my freaking super hard work in at Fortis. Come home, kind of rest, do some R&D with pad work and routing. And then like later in the week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm in Houston. So like I hit that hard War session this morning.
Okay,
now,
yeah.
With Ugly Man Joe, man, he's really big. He's a big old 85er. And so like I like rounds with him because I can like crack, we can crack, and I'm not worried about hurting him. He's not worried about hurting me. So yeah. He's been doing well, man. I'm really pulling for him in his fight as well.
We got a few weeks here, but weight cut going well. You mentioned getting the one little cheat meal, but everything according to plan. You always make weight anyways.
Oh, it's never an issue, man. I'll tell you. So I've been working with my strength coach for about a year now. So about 3 months before I fought Simmelsberger, I started working with like an actual professional strength coach. And it's like 3 months, not really enough time to notice a difference. But now it's been a year. And about 4 or 5 months ago, he was like, "You're a little drained." He's like, "I want you to like detail, pretty specific what you eat in a week and send it to me." So I do it pretty meticulously, send it to him, and he's like, "You're not eating enough." And I always had a hunch, and I was like never like ripped. I would always like hold on to fat for whatever reasons. And so I had to triple my protein and double my carbs. My fat numbers were good, so I didn't have to change anything there. That's like the easy one. But I'll tell you, there's this nutrition company called Naked Cake, and they do like gluten-free, sugar-free, super clean, like batter. So I've been doing protein pancakes every morning, and then every session before training in the evening. So I upped my daily calories by like 800 to 1,000. And I'm lighter than normal. I have much more muscle mass, and I can do like back-to-back sessions, no problem.
Nice.
It's a really cool change I've added in. The strength and conditioning has been better, so very grateful. So shout out to Coach Witt. He's my strength coach, and and a nutritionist as well. And man, it's been a fun fight camp because I've been able to like almost double my sessions, which is crazy because I train a lot as is. So it's been nice.
Have you ever heard of Kodiak cakes? They're kind of like a protein pancake as well. I don't know if you heard of them. They're like keto friendly. Yeah. I have them like once a week. They're great. So
not a bad option. And I'm not one of those weird anti-gluten people, but when I do too much gluten, I retain swelling in my joints and my knees and my elbow. So I just learned that like gluten-free carbohydrates work better for my body.
Yeah.
So the only reason I don't do Kodiak. That's why I like that Naked Cake Nutrition company. I think they're out of Australia.
Okay, interesting. And what do you have on the pancakes? Because like I've discovered recently, like maple syrup's actually not that bad for you, and it's Canadian as well, so it's like two things at once, So
there's this other company called Chalk Zero.
Okay.
And we eat everything with monk fruit, and like they're all organic and clean. My wife is super into like organic foods.
Okay.
And like have no budget on clean foods. Like that is for our body, so like go crazy. So like in these protein pancakes, we have like these like semi-sweet dark chocolate chips and
cool. Okay.
Chalk Zero monk fruit sweetened maple syrup. Dude, I'm telling you, I look forward to it every day, twice a day, man. It's awesome.
There you go. Living the dream. You figured out something that tastes good and you can have it during camp, right? That's the goal. Always. It's just awesome. Your corner, who will be in the cage with you on May 13th?
So a slight modification. I'm still bringing my boy Jake. He's going to help me with the weight cut. But I have this young, tall, southpaw funky wrestler who's just he's got one of our fighters on the team. But I got Coach Safe. I mean, he's the general. I got my striking coach Matt. I would not want to do this without him. We've worked so many cool, combos and just game plans, and not even game plans, just like routes and angles for this fight. And then my boy Jaden McKinnon, give him 4 or 5 years, he'll probably be in the UFC. But yeah, he's gonna be my warm up guy. He's my southpaw. He's my tall, gangly southpaw.
How's this fight playing out May 13th?
You know me, man. I'm always going for not only finishes but knockouts. I haven't gotten as many in the UFC as I was hoping. These guys are hard to put away, but I'm expecting the best out of the Dirty Bird, and I think we're gonna meet in the middle and throw down. Not gonna let him veteran boss me around. I feel like I'm a vet nowadays too. So
you are, yeah, big time.
Two vets going at it.
Alex, thanks for doing this. We're looking forward to it. UFC Charlotte, May 13th. If there's anyone you want to thank before we get out of here, any sponsors, any social media, I'll give you the last word.
Just all my teammates, all my boys at Fortis and Coach Safe. I mean, highest level of high levels. That's awesome. My boys at War always give me the push, always give me fun rounds. And then my team at Gracie Baja, the Woodlands. I love my students, love my teammates, love my coaches. Wouldn't want to do this without any one of those teammates.